Did we just save the building?
Yeah, we did.
I can't believe I saved the building.
Welcome back to the channel, where today we'll be discussing episode 10, the finale of season 5 of Only Murders in the Building, titled The House Always. This is the episode where the entire season and perhaps the entire legacy of the building crashes down on our trio. We finally got the shocking answers we needed about the deaths of Lester and Nikki, but the price? Potentially the complete destruction of the beloved Arconia. Man, we got a lot to discuss about this episode, the season overall, and what's to come next, so let's break it all down, full spoilers ahead. Now, as I always do, I'm going to be recapping the entire episode and sharing my thoughts along the way, but my review and my more in-depth thoughts about the overall season will be saved towards the end of the breakdown. So I'll be leaving time codes in the description if you all want to jump ahead at any point. The episode starts with a flashback to Nicky's poet era, a time when his dreams were as grand as the Mediterranean. He and Sophia weren't talking about money and power, they were dreaming of Posicano and escaping to a life free of what others wanted from them and how to live. But as we know, those innocent dreams died the moment greed became Nicky's main muse. Now we cut to a breaking point of their relationship as we also find the trio in the present cleverly planting a secret for later. Now back to the past, we find Sophia finally telling Nicky she's done with her relationship, she's tired of things just being enough. Nikki, incapable of accepting personal failure, immediately jumps to the worst conclusion. She was sleeping with someone else. Now, he doesn't just accuse her, but we watch as he promised to find this person and kill them. Now, that brings us back to the final moments of last week's episode where Nona, who, thank goodness for Teddy, actually speaks English. Now, she confirms the biggest clue yet about the finger. The finger they found did belong to Sophia's lover. As Nona says, she knew, meaning Sophia knew that finger very intimately. Now, just as the trio realizes they need to pivot from who killed Lester to who was Sophia's side piece, the metaphorical reckoning ball turns real, as they learn the building is scheduled for a total destruction. The new casino development, spearheaded by Camilla, is moving forward fast. All that history, all those memories about to be wiped away. The urgency is at an all-time high as they have to solve this now. Now we watch as the trio rethinks about who exactly was in the Velvet Room that night, and maybe one of the billionaires actually faked missing a finger. Now Oliver, inspired by the need for theatrics, proposes a last-ditch effort. Summon the three billionaires, Jay, Camilla, and Bash, back to the Velvet Room and interrogate them mobster style. The stage is set. Oliver, Charles, and Mabel put on their best, worst mob impressions, joined by the boys for a form of intimidation. They are demanding answers. Which of the billionaires was sleeping with Sophia, and which one of them is missing a finger? Now, this light pressure cracks one of them, and that being Jay, who reveals he was never missing a finger to begin with. He faked the injury, hoping it would make the search easier for the actual missing digit. As we watch, Camilla and Bash also prove that they are perfectly intact. Now this leaves our trio back to square one. If the finger wasn't one of these suspects, then whose was it? As the door opens and in walks the uninvited guest, Mayor Bo Tillman. Now we watch as he pretends that this is his first time in the historical Velvet Room, playing the innocent politician just checking in before the press conference. Now as the mayor walks towards the table, Mabel gets a very important clue via a text message from Howard that may unravel all their questions. As we watch, Mabel takes the cleaver she was holding to intimidate the billionaires, and she swiftly chops off the mayor's fake prosthetic finger, revealing that he killed Lester, but now the question is, why? Now, the text that Howard sent to Mabel showed the autocorrect for "it's beautiful," but it really meant "it's Bo Tillman," which is exactly what Lester sent Lorraine before he was murdered. As we finally learn what happened on the night of both deaths of Lester and Nikki.
But on that night, things went sideways.
We flash back to the moment where we find the billionaires with Lester dealing cards in the Velvet Room as Nikki looks at the pictures he was sent, revealing Sophia and the mayor having an affair. Now, remembering Nicky's promise to killing the person sleeping with his wife, in comes the mayor, ready for his bribes for the casino. As Nicky is tasked with making the mayor a drink, the words "one finger" is mentioned, and already fueled with anger after discovering the man who slept with his wife is in the same room with him, we watch as Nicky takes a bump of coke, picks up a cleaver, and walks towards the mayor and chops off his finger. Now, on the positive side, at least the billionaires were telling the truth about the part where Nikki went berserker mode with the cleaver, but of course they left out the part where it was the mayor's finger that was chopped off. As we watch the chaos happen, Nikki is swinging the cleaver when Lester, already years deep in regret for working with Nikki, tries to intervene by hitting him over the head with his elevator crank. Now, disoriented, we watch as Nikki stumbles, and with the cleaver still in his hand, we see him fall onto Lester, driving the cleaver into his own chest. So I guess I was wrong, because it was true. Lester technically, or perhaps indirectly, killed Nikki by delivering the blow that caused Nikki to fall into the cleaver. As the billionaires try to figure out what to do with Nikki's body, we see Lester runs off with the mayor's finger, as the game is now on to find Lester and the mayor's finger. We see the final confrontation happens where Lester, having already given Randall the finger, faces the mayor. The mayor pulls the typical politician move, trying to sweet talk Lester.
My old man was a cab driver. Worked hard, lived an honest life. He got nothing for it. Me, I wanted to get things done, so I made a few sacrifices. I bent a few rules. And now I am the mayor of New York City.
Lester channels his inner Ruth Laymore from Ozark.
If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
Stop me? You're gonna have to kill me. Right here, in front of all the security cameras.
But the mayor tells him that Bash owns the cameras and they can just simply erase this very conversation. As the mayor panics looking for his finger, we finally get to see the full scene in which Lester was murdered. We see Lester grabbing his bird whistle as he ran outside and texts Lorraine, as beautiful as we know to be, it was Bo Tillman. As the mayor and Lester are now both outside, we see them in a scuffle as the mayor pushes Lester and he hits his head violently on the concrete fountain. Just as Nikki was killed by the blunt force trauma leading to a fatal wound, Lester suffered the same fate. But before he died, as we know, we see Lester using the whistle to set off the video footage for Vince and the others to find. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Lester and Nikki died. Let me know how you all felt about this in the comments below. Were you all satisfied or underwhelmed? I'll be honest, the mayor just barely being seen at all this season and to be revealed to be the owner of the finger and to be Lester's killer, yeah, not that exciting or shocking at all. Now, back in the Velvet Room, we see the mayor is calm after confessing to committing murder, but things are about to get a little bit more complicated. As Romy arrives with backup, the crooked cops are with her. As our trio is captured, their phones destroyed, and they are chained up in the hidden room, left to die as the building is about to be destroyed, adding a new meaning to murder in the building. Now upstairs at the press conference, the cops throw the trio's phones in the trash compactor as Howard knows something is wrong with the whole situation and notices the trio is missing. Speaking of the trio, we see them now chained and desperate as Oliver encourages Charles to use his newfound confidence and to use his old magic tricks to save them. And here's where we get our comic relief that only Charles can deliver, as he confesses that the trial he was on wasn't for testosterone, it was for a placebo. But as good friends always do, Mabel and Oliver point out the truth. The confidence that he had throughout the season wasn't because of a drug, it was because of Charles himself. As we watch, Charles channels his inner stripper and climbs the pole that he was chained to, and he frees the trio. Meanwhile, back upstairs, Miller has found the trio's phone as Howard, with the help of V, comes up with a solution by distracting everyone by singing her hit song. Now, while all this is happening, in the Velvet Room, not wanting to accept defeat, we see Jay and Bash are thinking about teaming up and using their money to buy something together, but it's here we can see that Jay is remembering what Mabel said to him about using his money for good. Now, as we see V leads her mini concert downstairs in the Velvet Room, our trio, now being freed by Charles, tells everyone that the mayor is a murderer and they have the proof to show it. It's here we see that the trio used the roulette table to plant a secret recorder, which plays the mayor admitting to murdering Lester. As the mayor tries to escape, he's stopped by Vince, who releases a flurry of birds in the honor of Lester, blocking the mayor from escaping. We watch as the mayor and the crooked cops are arrested, but the building is still slated for destruction. This is where Jay steps up. Inspired by Mabel's earlier advice, Jay grows a conscience. He confesses that he and the other billionaires were the ones responsible for moving Nikki's body by using Camilla's paint tarps, explaining the Camilla White residue on Nikki's suit. Now, with this confession, implies Camilla as an accessory saving the building. as Jay tells Mabel that he hopes one day that she can forgive him and take that vacation with him, as all the 3 billionaires are now under custody. The question of who and why Nikki and Lester died, check, and the building being saved, also checked. Now upstairs, we see Sophia admitting to Charles that she used him to secure her family's future, and Charles understands why. But Sophia admits that she also still had feelings for Charles, as she invites him to go on her dream vacation with her with the money she got from the billionaires with giving them back the finger, but Charles, for the first time ever, says no to a dangerous woman. Flash forward to 3 months later, we see that Sophia and Lorraine did actually bond over losing their husbands, as Lorraine is now making her and Lester's dream come true, as she's now living in the Arconia thanks to the bag full of money given to her by Sophia. Speaking of Sophia, we cut to her living her dream in Post Econo as she gets a call from her sons that their grandmother is dying, and we see Sophia getting her godfather moment as she says goodbye to her mother. Now we end this season finale with seeing the building with some new residents after it being saved, as we see Howard has also found a new relationship with Vinny. As we cut to our trio, who's now celebrating their 5-year anniversary of their partnership and their friendship, which all started with listening to Cinda's podcast. This new podcast by Cinda is in the UK, and it's about a girl who's gone missing with some red curly hair.
I'm Cinda Canning, and this is The Girl with the Curls. While on holiday in the UK, I found myself confronted by 2 new obsessions.
A jasmine flowering tea that's become daily ritual, and a new mystery.
Suddenly, we cut to a woman with red curly hair stumbling through New York, leaving a trail of blood. She makes her way to the front gate of the building, in which we see Howard finding her, and she appears to be dead. But here's the catch. She was only inches away from technically being on the premises of the building, so that means our trio can't investigate until this mystery woman takes her last final breath and reaches out, touching the building's gate. As it is revealed, this mystery woman is Cinda, setting up season 6 of Who Killed Cinda, the woman responsible for starting the Only Murders podcast. Alrighty, y'all, we have made it to the end of the recap, so let's talk about my thoughts of the finale and the season. And I'm gonna be honest with you all, as I always am. I had some good laughs of this finale. I enjoyed moments of the finale, and as well as the season, which we'll talk about here in a second. But focusing on this finale overall, I wouldn't say I felt satisfied by how it all wrapped up. Look, it's always great to see our trio getting together and finally getting answers, but the answers themselves were a bit underwhelming for me. Now, let me be clear. This has nothing to do with my theories or you all theories not coming true. I actually love when a show doesn't go exactly the way I planned or go exactly the way I anticipated. I think that's great. But I also think for me, it's all about the execution and having this feeling that the journey that we went on this season, while it did have its fun moments, it was entertaining and all that good stuff, but the actual arrival to the destination wasn't as good as it was built up to be. The issue I had with the finale and some of the issues I had with this season were the mystery around who killed Nikki, but also who does the missing finger belong to. Just became less and less interesting as the story continued with each episode. So we start this episode by opening up with a flashback with Nikki and Sophia of them being in love and Sophia eventually falling out of love with Nikki, and I'm thinking, where was this the entire season? To me, I found Nikki to be a one-note, one-dimensional type of character with little to no character development, and the same goes with Sophia. We have her having this send-off to go on her vacation and saying goodbye to her mother. That was all built up over a few lines with her talking about her mom's relationship with Charles at dinner and seeing her getting pistachios thrown at her. I just felt the whole Nikki of it all, the Sophia of it all, the mafia thing was the most disappointing part of the finale, but also the entire season. Now, to speak on the topic of the finger. I was recently a guest on Nerds at Night with Blake, and I mentioned how this damn finger better have the best payoff ever because they've been dragging this thing on the entire season. And to get that final reveal, it was just disappointing. Now, I've seen the theories the past few weeks, and I even threw my hat in the ring revolving around the mayor being involved and it being his finger and whatnot. But seeing how it all played out, the murdering of Lester and Nikki, it was so accidental. It was just like a big accident, and it 100% could have been prevented. And it just felt like the murder this season was less about actual envy and hate. It was just, again, a very accidental situation compared to the other seasons. I just thought that all the buildup of who the finger belongs to and then randomly throwing in the affair with no context between the mayor and Sophia, it all felt like it was added on by the writers at the last minute. Now, as you all know, I was really heavy into my robot AI being the killer theory for a while, but just thinking about the AI of it all this season, that really didn't have much of a payoff besides it playing the clip of what happened to Lester, or at least some of the story of what happened to Lester that night. Now, I don't want to just keep bashing on the season, but just to continue my disappointment with some of the elements, I loved the billionaires for the majority of the season, but even their inclusion lost momentum by the end. The whole Jay and Mabel being a love interest was just simply stupid in my eyes. I mean, just think about it. Jay lied all season to Mabel, especially about Lester, who, by the way, I remind you all, was the very first true friend that Mabel ever had, and it seemed like the show completely ignored that element of the story and made it seem more like Mabel was more interested in Jay and falling in some type of relationship with him than actually really caring about losing Lester. Again, to me, whenever Mabel has a love interest besides maybe Theo, it's always kind of underwhelming. In this season, it felt more like a TMZ era back to when they were rumored to be dating. I'm referring to Selena and Logan, and it didn't really feel authentic to the story or the characters or this season. Again, there was just so many things that just kind of felt like empty or random at this point, thinking about Lester and Lorraine having kids, but not having their kids show up at any point in the show. Loretta's apartment catching fire and not going anywhere. Oliver seemed to be hated by the staff of the Arconia, but that had no real payoff. Bash having a kid didn't really mean anything. Them having their podcast contracted came and went. Look, I don't want to crap on everything because if you go back and listen or watch my previous breakdowns, I was clearly enjoying myself, especially those earlier parts of the season. But I would say the last few episodes, including this one, again, I enjoyed some of the moments. Here's my metaphor. I enjoyed the ride to the restaurant, which we were all excited for because we were in the car with our friends. We're laughing, we're enjoying each other's company, having some good vibes. But once we actually arrived to the restaurant and once we ate the food that we've been talking about for the past 10 weeks, it just turned out to be undercooked and extremely underwhelming. But hey, I still love our trio. I'm still a fan of this show. I'm not done with this show. I just felt like the back half of the season and the finale was underwhelming. And I had to be honest with you all because I would be lying if I didn't tell you all how I really felt. Now, obviously, there's one more thing to talk about, and that's the case of Who Killed Cinda, which does have potential. Potential to take us back to the beginning where our trio first came together, and that was because of their love of her podcast. So I would hope this means the mystery behind who poisoned Oliver's dog, to all the little bits and clues that's been there about a person who's been watching and threatening them from the start, finally gets some answers in season 6. Which, speaking of season 6, at the time of this recording, it has officially been announced that season 6 is official. It is happening soon, probably sometime next year. And not only did we get that announcement, but it's also been confirmed that at least part of the season will take place in the UK. Well, there you have it. That will conclude my breakdown of episode 10 of season 5 of Only Murders in the Building. Now, before we wrap up, I have to take the time to thank you all for not only listening to this breakdown, but if you've listened to all of my breakdowns this season, and hell, all of the previous seasons, I really appreciate the continued support. I love this show. I love this community. Again, I was slightly disappointed by how everything wrapped up, but again, this is such a joy to be able to cover the show with you all, so I thank you for the continued support. If you all are still here listening, do me a favor, the secret word of the week, put in the comments right now, hashtag the house always wins. So now that I'm off my soapbox, I would love to know what you all thought of the season finale. What worked, what didn't work, what were some frustrating moments, some unanswered questions you all had, what are your anticipation level for season 6, what do you all hope to see, but also what did you all think about this overall season, and how would you rank the seasons? Let's talk about it all in the comments below. Now, if you all enjoy my breakdown of this finale, do me a favor by hitting that like button as well as the hype button. Also, consider sharing this video to anyone and everyone you know that loves talking about this show. And last but not least, consider sticking around. Even though this is the end of the road for this season, I have other shows that I cover. Like right now, I'm going to be covering the rest of the season for It, Welcome to Derry. And there's a new Vince Gilligan show on Apple TV Plus that I'll be covering as well. So stick around, check out my movie reviews, TV reviews, and subscribe to the channel today. Now, if you all are listening to this breakdown via podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I appreciate you all. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Consider sticking around by following and subscribing to the podcast. And also leave me a review and a rating. I would appreciate it. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you again for watching today's breakdown. Hope you all enjoyed it. Stay safe. You all are awesome. And I'll see you soon.